Darkcast Network, the light shines brightest on our indie podcasts.
Content warning ahead. This podcast contains very sensitive topics such as missing persons, unsolved cases, haunted houses, and paranormal activity. These type of topics can contain very upsetting and sensitive details and stories. Please listen responsibly. Welcome to Misty Mysteries. I'm your host, Keely. This is a paranormal and true crime podcast. This week, I'm a little under the weather, but we're going to push right through because the holidays are right around the corner. Personally, I was raised to celebrate Christmas, and I have always loved Christmas movies. But I always wondered about one thing, especially as a young kid, why so many Christmas movies or stories involve ghosts, when so many associate ghosts with spooky instead of Christmas. Well, I dived into the world of Christmas ghost stories to bring you not only some of my favorites to get you into the holiday spirit, but why they came to be. You are listening to Misty Mysteries Holiday Special, but this is only a solo holiday special because I have something magical to bring you from the Darkcast Network next week.
Hi, my friends. It's Brenda from the podcast Horrifying History. December is here, and the holidays for many of us are right around the corner. The Darkcast Network has been hard at work in our toy shop. Oh, wait, we're not elves. Okay, in our studios, preparing for the holidays in a very special way. We're stuffing our big red sleigh. Wait, that's not us either. We have been actually recording naughty and nice tales from around the world to bring you all 2 very special episodes. Some of the tales are nice and others, well, not so much. Join some of your favorite Darkcast Network shows like Cause of Death, Autumn's Oddities, Crime Diner, and us from Horrifying History when we tell you the tales of Christmas lore, cryptids, and of dark holiday true crime. So put on your comfiest pajamas, grab your mug of hot chocolate, and join us by the fire for Darkcast Holiday Naughty or Nice Stories. Available on this podcast, yes, the one you're listening to right now, on December 19th and 20th.
I talk about true crime and lore in those, and I am always excited to tell you some short stories. But for now, let's turn focus to the ghost of Christmas. According to writer Mike Wilton with AllHallowsGeek.com, to understand the concept of telling ghost stories at Christmas time, you first have to understand the origins of Christmas. So let's learn about Christmas itself. Christmas is celebrated on December 25th. It's definitely one of the newer holidays when it comes to humans and their traditions. Christmas is a holiday based in Christianity, and it's celebrated by many of the different branches. It's a celebration of the birth of Jesus, but before it was Jesus' birthday party, it was celebrated by the world in many different traditions and holidays during the winter solstice. The winter solstice was a time when people could celebrate making through the worst of the winter. They could start to look forward to longer days and more sunlight. It was often when there was fresh meat to be eaten and fresh wine and beer to be drunk. Now, the Christian Bible never actually mentions when Jesus' birthday is, but Pope Julius I declared December 25th his birthday in the birth of the holiday. Although there is no clear answer why he chose December, it's most commonly believed that this day was chosen to not only boost popularity, since so many were already celebrating, but to help adopt pagan traditions, which many of us know are still a big part of Christmas, just maybe adapted or changed a little bit over time. To name just a few, we can start with Christmas carols, hanging of the mistletoe, Christmas trees and the decorations we put on them, decorating with holly and wreaths, gift giving, and of course, the episode topic, ghost stories. In long, dark, and cold winter nights, things can definitely feel uneasy, even if it's just the human mind wandering. For many pagans, they believe that during the winter solstice, spirits could cross between our worlds more easily, while others believed in gods or monsters, which brought on these dark, cold nights. These beliefs turned into winter tales or ghost stories, told during these long winter nights, surrounded in the home around the fire by your family. These winter tales are found in pieces of writing or plays spanning over centuries, including mentions of them in the work of Shakespeare. The tradition of winter tales didn't take to Christmas right away. In fact, Christmas looked much different than what we know for a very long time. Christmas was the celebration of many holidays throughout December, taking most of what we know for Christmas from the Saturnalia holiday. Eventually, the church began to take Christmas over, changing it to look more of the Christmas we celebrate today. These changes brought back old traditions, but the winter tales were not one of these traditions. Until, like many things I talk about on this podcast, the Victorian era came around. With the accessibility and the affordability of printing written word, what used to be more of a oral winter tale turned to written ghost stories. It wasn't until a pretty well-known author by the name of Charles Dickens wrote a story called A Christmas Carol in 1843 that Christmas ghost stories became popular. Dickens actually played a huge role in the popularity of Christmas ghost stories beyond A Christmas Carol. He wrote several Christmas stories involving ghosts and edited many more from other writers to put them into the magazine he was working for. Charles Dickens played an overall huge role in the changing of Christmas literature by writing about themes like forgiveness and reunion during the holiday season. It set a tone for Christmas literature to be more about family and kindness during the holidays. Christmas ghost stories really took off for Victorian-era England, thanks to Charles Dickens, and some that even made its way to America, but it never truly took off in America like it did in England. I mean, A Christmas Carol was still immediately bestseller in America, like it was in England, but Dickens himself already had a strong fan base in America. A few American authors tried their hand at Christmas ghost stories, like Nathaniel Hawthorne, Henry James, and Washington Irving, but it never truly took off. For those that did follow the Christmas ghost story tradition, it was a large part of their Christmas celebration. They would leave Christmas ghost stories out on their tables for guests at their homes to read, and during their Christmas parties, they would end the night by sharing their favorite ghost stories. It truly wasn't a Victorian Christmas party without everyone ending the night with drinks in their hand and ghost stories to fill the night. Although the tradition has left bits of itself throughout Christmas tradition, it, for the most part, ended in the Victorian era. It's one tradition I truly enjoy, and now I want to share it with you with Christmas ghost stories. The first story is called A Christmas Ghost Story by Danny B. Stewart. It was late December in the year of our Lord, 1986, and the little boy that lived on the old farm was outside walking around in the snow. It was a little past 1 a.m. His family was fragmented and dysfunctional, so most of his days were spent alone. This night was particularly melancholy, for earlier in the day he had found out his dog, Squash, had been hit by a car. Had been snowing all day and the wind was blowing hard as the little boy pushed his way against the storm, making his way to the horse stables to take food and an extra blanket out to the mother of a fresh litter of kittens. After seeing to the feline's needs, he tripped and fell, hurting his hand. It hurt really bad as he sat against the stable, nursing the pain while the snowstorm rushed and pounded against him. But then, silence. Everything was still, no wind, no snow, just a snow-lighted landscape. And music? There was an old 1950s radio that sat on the ledge above him. His dad would listen to music on it as he tended to his horses, but his dad was nowhere near. The radio turned on by itself and began playing a bizarre rendition of Joseph Menoir's Silent Night. The little boy got up and turned the radio off and sat down in the snow. He was crying now, feeling lonely and hurt. He missed his mom, and then the radio turned on again. The Silent Night was playing again. Instead of turning it off, this time he just listened, and there was something else. The music came with what he can only describe as a warm, hugging sensation, a sensation that surrounded his entire person. There he sat, embraced by some unexplainable entity that seemed to care about him. The little boy sat there for an undetermined amount of time, eventually falling asleep and waking up the next morning still warm. That little boy is a man now, and for many years he has searched and searched for this particular version of Silent Night he heard all those years later. He has not found it yet. Perhaps it doesn't exist. Maybe it was a gift only for him, a gift from one of the spirits of Christmas. This next is an original written by me called Not All Christmas Guests Are Welcome. The countdown to Christmas has started. Just a few days more till my first Christmas in my childhood home alone. Maybe it's the fact that I'll be alone, but something hasn't quite felt right lately. The house has certain spots that are really cold. It's winter, but colder than it would feel even in winter, especially in that one closet near the back door that I've always avoided even as a child. I think the house just hasn't felt the same since losing my parents. I've been trying to redecorate and make the house my own, but even as a kid, when the house was filled with aunts, uncles, cousins, and grandparents, Christmas time never felt quite right. Our Christmas lights have never worked quite right, and our floorboards creaked, but it was easy to blame that on the old house and faulty wiring. When we found broken ornaments outside, it was easy to blame the cats, but now that I don't have a cat and I live alone, the broken ornaments definitely seem more suspicious. Most nights I can hear footsteps running from the closet to the Christmas tree. But last night when I found snowy footprints from the broken ornaments outside to the closet, I started to suspect I might not be alone here. I put some bells on the door to catch my Christmas guest. I think I hear them going off now. Time to go meet my guest. That's all for this episode and for 2022. Thank you for listening and supporting Misty Mysteries throughout the year. I am so thankful for how much support and growth I have seen this year. I truly wouldn't be here without all of you who listen, share, and help the podcast in so many ways. I am grateful for being able to join the Darkcast Network this year and all the friends I have made along the way. I will have 2 very special episodes on the 19th and the 20th with the Darkcast Network, but this is the last episode hosted by just me for the year. I will be taking a break for Christmas and New Year's, sharing episodes from some of my podcasting friends, and I will be back on January 11th with lots of new content and updates for Misty Mystery in 2023. For now, please stay safe, stay warm, and I hope you enjoy your holidays, and I wish you a Happy New Year.